Sohini Roy Biswas, who holds a first-class master's degree in English literature from the esteemed University of Calcutta and B.Ed degree from Jiwaji University. She is a distinguished figure in the realm of English education with over 14 years of enriching experience. Sohini's journey in education has been marked by excellence and dedication. She served as the postgraduate teacher and head of department for English at Amrita Vidyalayam, New Delhi, where her leadership and expertise shone brightly. Sohini's commitment to academic excellence has been recognized on numerous occasions, including a prestigious certificate of appreciation from the former Education Minister, Ms. Smriti Irani. Furthermore, Sohini's expertise has been sought after by the Central Board of Secondary Education, CBSE, where she has served as an evaluator for Grade 12 English examinations for an impressive 8 years. Currently, she is shaping young minds as a PGT English at 21K School, bringing her wealth of experience and passion to inspire the next generation of learners. Hearty welcome Ms. Sohini Roy to Extra Mile Education and Training.
Thank you so much, Dr. Salam, for that wonderful introduction. And a very good evening to everyone. A warm welcome from all of us at Extra Mile Education and Training. We are delighted to have you join us today for an important and insightful session on CBSE Strategic Roadmap 2026-27. Extra Mile Education and Training is an innovative professional development initiative founded by Dr. Abdul Salam and Mr. Biju S. Pillai. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited today because today marks a remarkable milestone for Extra Mile Education and Training as it proudly celebrates its 350th professional development session, a testament to its unwavering commitment to empowering educators and transforming classrooms across regions. This landmark session stands as a symbol of the initiative's growing impact, dedication, and the vibrant community of educators who continue to go the extra mile, as we say, in shaping the future of education. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our program director and resource person for today's special session, Dr. Abdul Salam, as well as to all the educators and participants who have joined us this evening. And a special welcome goes to Mr. Biju S. Pillai, whom I'm going to introduce shortly for gracing today's occasion. Let's talk about today's session objective. The objective of today's session, it is the 350th session for our organization. It is to provide educators and school leaders with a clear understanding of the CBSE strategic roadmap for the academic session 2026 and 27. This roadmap highlights key priorities and developments. As you know, there are so many in areas such as curriculum design, competency-based education, assessment reforms, teacher capacity building, and of course, institutional growth. This session will help participants understand the direction in which the CBSE is moving and how schools can effectively align their academic planning and practices with those upcoming changes. Now, before we begin, of course, I would like to take our esteemed educators who have gathered here today I would like to take you through a few guidelines to ensure a smooth and interactive session. Dear educators, if you have any questions during the session, please put them in the chat box. And for more interactive experience, you are encouraged to ask questions. Kindly use the raise hand feature and wait for your name to be called out before you speak. And regarding the certificates, we will share the link towards the end of the session. All right. So I'm going to introduce Dr. Salam shortly, But even before that, I would like to introduce a very special member and a founding member of our organization, Mr.
Talking Biju sir
Yes.
didn't join.
Oh, he wouldn't join us today. Okay,
He
so
has no
we
power.
will be missing his presence.
Yeah.
All right,
He'll be
sir. No
joining.
worries.
He'll be joining later.
Sure, sir. No problem. Noted. Then I'll go ahead with the introduction to our very special person, resource person for today's special session, and that is none other than our program director, Dr. Abdul Salam. I think he doesn't need any introduction whatsoever, but I would like to inform everyone who are present here that with more than 30 years of experience in the field of education, Dr. Salam is widely respected as a CBSE master trainer and a government empaneled assessor affiliated with the National Accreditation Board for Education and Training, popularly known as the NABET. He is also the founder and the CEO of Extra Mile Education and Training, as well as the founder of BTAG, which is known as Bharat Transformers Academic Group. Through these initiatives that he conducts and he organizes periodically, quite often, he has been instrumental in empowering educators and institutions by providing really high quality professional development programs and academic leadership training. An award winning educational leader and the director of BTAG Global Education Trust, Dr. Salam, is known for his commitment to strengthening modern pedagogy, promoting academic excellence, and guiding schools in adapting to evolving educational practices, policies, and frameworks. Sir, we are truly honored to have you with us today as the esteemed resource person. On behalf of all the educators present here, I warmly welcome you and invite you to begin the session on CBSE Strategic Roadmap 2026-27. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Sokini, and hearty welcome, everybody. Well, Ms. Sohini has given ample introduction about today's session and the speciality of today's episode. At the outset, let me thank all the educators who have been, supporting external education and training. We started the journey 4 years back, I think, 4 years back, and we could, support CBSE educators with lots of sessions, suggestions, and bringing out the scenarios in front of the educators. And we are very happy to, we feel very proud to inform everybody that Extra Mile could produce or could discover great talents as resource persons, and Ms. Sohini is a testimony, for it. So Sohini, she began as a moderator, but took over as a resource person and conducted lots of, sessions, for wonderful sessions and very prolific sessions for extra mile education and training. Equally, we are proud of, having associated with Ms. Khyadi Dorgadas, who has joined us this 50th session. Thank you so much for joining, Ms. Khyadi. I will make you a co-host as well, so that you can interact. You can also help me in the process of today's delivery. So thank you everybody for joining this session. We would like to highlight the transition that is going to take place or has already begun with the CBSE for the academic year 2026-27. Let me share my screen. So, Sokini ma'am, screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir. Clearly.
Okay. All right. So, welcome to the strategic roadmap of CBSE 26-27. A lot of things are in store, and a lot of things are expected from CBSE as well. And a few things or many more things might have been, known to you. Let us go through one by one so that let us be prepared. So what is the, what are the highlights and what is the quintessential essence of their agenda of 2026-27? Drawing your attention to the roadmap. It is in nutshell, we can say implementing NEP 2020. That is the main agenda. And how we are going to see how they have divided the time frame and all for implementation. Of course, stage has to be set and things should be very clear to everybody. And we will see one by one. And this implementing NEP 2020, it means skills, technology, and holistic assessment. These three things are very much emphasized by CBSE. Before we begin, let me interact with the participants. When we hear about implementing NEP 2020 or National Education Policy 2020, what comes to your mind? You can put it in the chat box so that we can have interaction. We can think about all those. So when CBSE says they are going to implement NEP 2020 and they are towards the final stage, maybe by 29 or 30, the whole stage should be set and they should materialize its implementation. So what comes to your mind when we talk about implementing NEP 2020? Please use the chat box. It is open to you. What all things are you prepared with or we are expected of? Ms. Sokini, help me with the chat box.
Absolutely, sir. I have opened the chat box as soon as, okay, Ms. Khyati has written holistic progress, multilingualism, and inclusivity.
Thank you, Ms. Kyadi. Well,
Ms. Sarita has written competency-based assessments. Ms. Nagalakshmi has written learning 3 languages up to grade 10. Yes, that's a major reform.
okay.
Digital infrastructure, ICT-based learning by Ms. Innamudu.
Okay, thank you so much. Anything else?
Ms. Khyati is writing transformational assessments.
Transformational assessments. Thank you so much. All right. I would like to draw your attention to this particular context. Recently, Mr. Raghav Chadda, must be knowing him, very proactive member of parliament from Punjab. He's a member of parliament of Rajya Sabha. Very recently, he was, talking about the existing scenario of education and employment. So I draw your attention to this context. This will, set our stage to, for discussion. Ms. Sokini, if you don't mind, can you read this?
Absolutely, sir. It's my pleasure. Mr. Raghav Chadda says, and I quote, every year, millions of young Indians graduate with degrees in their hands and hope in their hearts, but too many of them discover that what they were taught does not match what the world of work demands. Our education system has trained generations to memorize answers instead of encouraging them to ask better questions. The result is a clear gap between what classrooms teach and what the world of work actually needs. The growing gap between education and employment is quietly pushing an entire generation towards joblessness. I get goosebumps when I'm reading this. If we do not confront this reality and fix the problem, we will continue to let down our youth and, in doing so, the future of our country. When learning is disconnected from the real opportunity, our young people are pushed towards uncertainty and joblessness. If we do not bridge this divide, we are not just failing our youth, we are putting India's future at risk.
Thank you so
I
much,
unquote.
Ms. Sokini. Thank you so much. Well, Miss Okni, can I ask you, what do you understand from his verse?
What he just said.
What
Yes.
he has said, yeah.
Yeah. So the main thing that I think this is something all the educators, we have been feeling for quite some time that our education system is training people to, training our children to know more about the theory without knowing the real application of that theory. And our children are very, very proactive, and they're very good at producing answers which are memorized. But when it comes to the application part of it, they often, falter. And I would say the blame is entirely on us, because we have developed a structure which is not really at par with the industry standards. A lot of changes and reforms have taken place in the employment scenario, and we have not been able to follow them in and bring them into our system. So, as I said, sir, when I was reading this, it gave me goosebumps that it actually is true that we are failing an entire generation and pushing them towards joblessness.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sokni. So I think further explanation is not required. She has very well, explained it. Thank you so much. One more question. What he wants us to do, what he wants the teachers to do.
Okay, so he's talking about bridging the gap, the lacuna, the divide that we have.
Yes, and he is asking the teachers to, make children ask questions.
Yes.
Right. So that is where the skill problem solving capacity begins. So with this context, that I thought this context will, suit our purpose, because we are here to, see how CBSE is going to implement the NEP 2020 and what NEP 2020 really aims at, and everything is resting upon the teachers, the teaching fraternity, the schools, the heads and all. So now this being the scenario, and we very well understand that, as Ms. Khadi has written in the chat box, skill education is very important. Kaushal board. Yes, we are coming to that. Before that, we will see the strategic vision, how it is going to be done. Core components of CBSE transformation for the next year is like education towards skills, technology, and holistic student development initiatives. Three foundational pillars: language diversity, technological integration, assessment innovation. As many of us, have, uh, conveyed through the chat box, these are the foundational pillars CBSE is looking at. Implementation timeline, of course, next year they are trying to, implement. And NEP 2020 integration, that is the main agenda. Future ready outcomes that are expected. Preparing students for globally competitive technology enabled careers. This is in line with what Raghav Chadha has rightly said. And lifelong learning success. So the transformation areas, what are they? Language formula. That is language formula reform, multilingual education framework, which we have been talking about. And now it is slightly, slowly it is coming into picture. Emphasizing Indian language. Of course, NEP 2020 focus or gives more importance to Indian language across curriculum implementation. Exam structure reform that we have already seen. Digital infrastructure in schools, AI and computational thinking, how it is going to, CBSE is going to implement AI and computational thinking in schools next year. And of course, assessment methodology, that is competency based. So when we talk about the transition or the transformation, of course, CBSE has already begun, and the stage is being set with the introduction of NCERT introducing civil syllabus or curriculum for grade 9. So grade 9, all the subjects curriculum have been rationalized. So we have to call it rationalized. The main thing is that, we have been teachers have been struggling with completing the portions and finding no sufficient time for other skill-based training or coaching and activities. This being the reason, in order to enhance the skills of students, like problem solving or all those 21st century skills, CBSE is asking every school to set aside 2 periods a week. That is the reason they are rationalizing the syllabus, avoiding all the repetitions and all, and they are, sequencing it in such a way that students would be able to proceed forth with ease. This we have already seen. And we have to see the actually what actually this means: gradual rollout of new pedagogy, right? Phase 1, which began in 2024, I think. Just a minute. Yeah. Here, which with class 3 and 6, which we have already seen, this introduces a shift from rote learning to competency-based and experiential learning. With our hands in our heart, we have to see how far we have succeeded in implementing this competency-based education. Still, a lot of schools are depending upon rote learning method, which will defeat the purpose of NEP 2020 and the roadmap which CBSE is setting forth. A phased release allows time for teachers to be trained through bridge programs. Already bridge courses already have been done, specifically designed for these transition points. But then, what is the highlight of the curriculum is rationalization. As I said, prior to the full curriculum overhaul, NCERT conducted a rationalization phase to remove redundant and overlapping content across subjects to immediately lighten the cognitive load. CBSE was always, blamed for giving lots of stuff, lots of content for students. That's the reason there is shortage of time, and students have, tend to memorize most of them on student post-pandemic. After the pandemic, they have rationalized the curriculum. And also the feedback mechanism. NCERT National Curriculum Framework, NCF, mandates that the framework be improved based on ground level feedback from early implementation before being fully scaled to all classes, which we have already seen. This has already taken place. Okay, so the academic, timeline, implementation timeline. 2024, we have seen 3 and 6. This year, we have seen 4, 5, 7, and 8 rationalized. Their curriculum have been rationalized. And next year, we are going to have class 9 and sometimes class 11 as well. And next year, after this, grade 10 and 12, we are expecting. So this is the implementation timeline. And before we proceed to the next segment, we can just have a glimpse at the curriculum that they have released. A lot of teachers, educators have been asking for the books, for which we have to wait at least for some time till the end of March. Okay. Main title, NCERT Curriculum Transformation, subtitle and all, from rote learning to the main focus is rote learning to competency-based education. The big picture implementation strategy already, started. It is starting with 26, 27. The completion is 26, 27. Core philosophy is alignment with the national education policy. Strategy, emphasis on critical thinking over memorization. Many teachers, many students complain after each examination, papers are very difficult, more application level questions. This is not going to end. The complaints will never end unless and until the competency of, competency-based education is, focused and transacted in the classrooms. Interdisciplinary approach to learning and integration of vocational education and financial literacy. Let's have a glimpse at maths, how they have rationalized it. Volume change, chapters increased from 12 to 15. Key update, arithmetic progression moved from class 10 to 9. The dual level path means the, the application level questions, standard level and advanced level. We can expect it in all the subjects henceforth. Science, if you talk about science, depth over breadth adjustments, streamlining total chapters reduced to 11 numbers. Matter in our surroundings, major removals you can note down. I think matter in our surroundings and gravitation chapters are removed for science. Additions, applied physics, focus on simple machines, that is pulleys, levers and all. Biological diversity, expanded chapters on reproduction and species diversity. What is the goal? Higher practical application and laboratory linked learning. So this is going to be hands-on and minds-on learning to be, precise. Coming to social science and language, curriculum focuses history. When you talk about history, focus on the period up to 1200 CE, Harappan culture to Bhakti traditions, which I think we have already done with the help of Ms. Khyadi Dordas. Economics, revolutionary shift to financial literacy, budgeting, income tax, banking. When you talk about geography, modernization via geospatial data and satellite imagery, Ms. Khyadi has clearly explained it in the last session. When you talk about English, replacement of old books with a single integrated textbook called Kaveri, more information is awaited. We have to wait patiently for circular from CBSE for implementation. This is what Ms. Khyadi has pointed out, Kaushal Bodh, skill-based education, which has already begun in all school, and it has been mandated by CBSEs to implement this from this year onwards, but still CBSE has found many schools have not implemented. So they are asking compulsorily to implement next year. So there is no exemption next year. Kaushal Bodh, there is skill education from grade 6 to 8. Grade 6, 7 and 8. Textbooks are available. Kaushal Bodh textbooks are available, based on which schools have to, teach students. At least they have to set aside 2 periods in a week for Kaushal Bodh syllabus. I'm very glad to inform you that next week we are coming up with more information, interpretation or decoding, whatever you call it, on Kaushal Bodh, which will be held by Dr. Swaroop Datta next Saturday. Please don't forget to join. So what are the key highlights of Kaushal Bodh? Integration of 100 hours, 110 hours of skill education in the timetable. So every school has to set aside 110 teaching hours for skill education. There is 2 consecutive periods twice a week. So what all are included? Project-based learning, 3 projects per class focusing on real-world skill acquisition. Then 1 Kaushal Mela at the end of the year, showcasing student projects, teacher training and support by CBSE and NCERT, which has already begun. Online orientation session on 20, that is what I said, which has already been given. So this is actually is aligning with NEP 2020 and NCF 2023, aiming to nurture hands-on learning, creativity and vocational readiness among students. Actually, it's a welcome move towards making education more competency-based, practical and future-ready. What do you think about it? So, Ms. Sohini?
Sir, I think this is going to again bring huge reforms. And another thing that I would like to talk about here is the readiness of the schools is of great importance, and that is where sessions like these will become even more sought after and more important, because unless you're very well oriented with all the reforms, all the things that we are talking about here and we are planning to take up in the upcoming sessions, successful implementation won't be possible.
Thank you. Well said. And adding to that, this reminds me of CBSE's, circular of skill lab. So when we talk about schools readiness, infrastructure and all, every school needs to have a skill lab, which is very compulsory to implement all the skill, Kaushal board syllabus. And the hot discussion nowadays is the three language formula, which the discussion began 2 years back. And lots of hues and cries we have heard about the, three language system to be implemented in 10, 11, grade 9, etc., etc. And we have, at that time, we told them that any implementation will begin from the lower classes so that teachers, schools, institutions will get ample time to get ready for the implementation in the true spirit of NEP 2020. So, three language formula is going to be implemented from class 6 onwards from 26, 27. So let us all be, well prepared that this, national education policy of giving importance to regional language is set now to begin with grade 6. So accordingly, English becomes a foreign language. So 2 native language and 1 foreign language. Whether you go for English, French, Spanish, German, Arabic, that can be foreign language, but compulsorily 2 native language should be there. Hindi, Sanskrit, Marathi, Malayalam, etc., etc. So this is the highlight of the implementation strategy. Roadmap of CBSE 26-27. Lots of questions may arise about the future of second language like French, German, Spanish, Arabic. Questions can be, reserved, and we'll take at the end of the, session. Ms. Nagalakshmi, you can reserve your question. Ms. Sohini will take up the question at the end.
Sure.
So here the highlight is 3 distinct languages compulsorily, 2 native language, 1 foreign language. Of course, if a child chooses to take English as a foreign language, they can. Or English can be replaced by French if they are going for French or Arabic, or they can go for other language like Arabic as an extra language, because we have options for more subjects, not limited to 5 subjects or 6 subjects. We have options for more subjects, as we have seen in grade 9 and 10 now. The third language is optional. The third language in grade 9 is optional now, as everybody knows, must be knowing. Similarly, if we are choosing 2 native language and 1 foreign language, that most of the schools may choose English as the foreign language because that is the need of the existence, survival. But then if sometimes Arabic, there is no way that Malayalam or Hindi can replace Arabic. Arabic is considered to be a foreign language. It's not a regional language. Of course, Urdu can be a regional language. So that is the difficulty or the setback of such decisions and policies. Sometimes we may face difficulties just like Arabic and French and all. Of course, there is a provision for students learning, but the number of subject will increase. I hope the point is very clear. So the three language formula, Ms. Sokini, I would like you to read and help me.
Yes, absolutely, sir. Miss Neetu has written, does that mean that English is not compulsory in grade 10?
English, it says any foreign language. So English is considered to be a foreign language. So that is how it is going to be when, when these students from grade 6 to then they come to grade 10, it will be 2031. At that time, grade 10 is going to have three language system. Can you read this three language formula?
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you.
First, to begin with mandatory language requirements, all class 6 students must study three languages starting 2026-27, which is the coming academic session, or the session has just begun, establishing foundational multilingual competency across the education system. The next is Indian language priority. At least two languages must be native Indian options, including Hindi, other regional languages, or even Sanskrit, preserving linguistic heritage. Number three is expected competency outcomes. Students develop multilingual proficiency. That's the whole idea behind doing this or bringing this reform, supporting cultural identity preservation while gaining meaningful global engagement capabilities. Next is global language flexibility. Third language can be a foreign language choice like French, German, or Spanish, enabling optional global communication skills. And last but not the least, strategic implementation approach. Phased rollout begins in class 6, expanding progressively through higher classes with systematic curriculum integration. And Miss Khyati has written, can English/foreign language be L1, language 1 for a learner?
That clarity we have to wait. That clarity will come very soon. With the L1, I think L1 is going to be a native language. So that is the shift. Biannual board exam system, that is, we have already seen.
Yes.
And yeah, I think grade 10 is going to complete their first phase examination. And it has become, another responsibility of our schools to prepare again for children for the next phase examination, if at all required. Anyway, schools started asking from students whether they would like to, enroll for May examination, because students must have realized where they have, performed well and not well. So traditional model to new model, two examination opportunities have been given. That is already in practice. And student advantages, students can improve scores in up to 3 subjects across multiple attempts. So to bring up clarity, when you ask students to, opt for May examination, maximum 3 subjects only they can apply again. Maximum 3 subjects. Not language, subjects, I repeat. Then score policy, highest marks from 2 attempts are retained and recorded on final transcript. So best of the 2. Flexibility benefit reduces examination anxiety. That is the main agenda and main, motive behind this 2-phase examination, to reduce the anxiety of students, stressing and all, allowing students to performance improvement opportunities. Implementation timeline that has already begun. Now we are moving to the next strategic planning, AI and computational thinking. CBSE is planning, expecting to start this kind of transition from early grade 3 from next academic year onwards. When China is teaching AI in kindergarten, why not India at least begin with the grade 3? So schools are advised to, give more importance to AI and computational thinking in children. To begin with grade 3 and core subjects, AI transforms into a compulsory core subject for secondary students. Most of the schools, I think they are taking it as a sixth subject, skill subject for artificial intelligence. If not, schools they are not giving artificial intelligence or computational thinking or such courses. It is high time that they introduced it in grade 9 and 10. So it's a mandate from next academic year. So the students will benefit a lot, and the scenario we have seen in the beginning can be overcome. Computational thinking integration. Sokini ma'am, so this is just the expansion of what we
Of
have
course.
in the last slide.
Sure, and it's very comprehensive because it gives a grade-wise view. Grade 3 to 5, foundational concepts. Students develop basic computational thinking skills and foundational AI concepts through age-appropriate learning activities. Then comes the middle school, grades 6 to 8, advanced problem solving. A step up, students advance to complex problem solving techniques and introduction to digital logic fundamentals. Then comes grade 9 and 10, compulsory AI core. AI becomes mandatory subject with hands-on applied learning opportunities. Oh, I just love this part for practical skill development. And finally, for the high school students, grade 11 and 12, specialization pathways. Students choose specialized tracks in AI, data science, and tech innovation based on their interests. We have scope for continuous skill development here. Progression aligns with cognitive development stages, ensuring age appropriate complexity and mastery. And of course, this will make our children ready for a new career opportunity. Career readiness focus. I think this is taking us back to where we started, sir.
Yes.
This curriculum will prepare students for tech-driven economy, which we are, we already are in the tech-driven economy, and emerging job market opportunities ahead.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Well read, yeah, and explained as well. Yes, this is to eradicate the disparity in the job market. When students they pass out from graduations and all, they tend to be looked at upon aliens in terms of lack of computational skills or problem solving skills. So need of the hour. Thank you so much. Then subject structure evolution, how the subject structure is going to be evolved in the 26-27 phase 1, foundation building, introduction of AI concepts across all grades to establish fundamental understanding and digital literacy. The next phase is integration. So in the first phase, it is foundation setup. Then we integrate embedding computational thinking within mathematics and science curricula, interdisciplinary and seamless interdisciplinary learning. Then going to the support system, how the support system should be updated teacher training programs. So you can expect more and more AI-based teacher training programs from COEs next year, and digital learning resources ensuring effective implementation and educator competency. Phase 3, specialization. AI offered as standalone subject in grade 9 and 10, enabling focused advanced study and skill development. We have already seen that. Assessment alignment, it will be aligned with the assessment. Evaluation methods modified to test computational thinking, creativity. All the schools should, revamp their, assessment parameters, 360-degree assessment and all. And take thinking, their computational thinking and creativity and practical problem solving skills should be given, should be assessed properly. Then phase 4, that is the completion stage, real world projects and interdisciplinary learning opportunities connecting classroom knowledge to practical scenarios. That is what we have seen in Kaushal both That is a supplementary to what we have been discussing, and also to internship and all. This is pointing out to students' display of their skills and internship programs. So we were talking about competency-based education and reforms in assessment, transforming how we evaluate students' potential. It is proposed that there should be open book assessment. We can expect it in the next academic year. In fact, some years back it was existing, but CBSE had to withdraw it because of public feedback was not in favor of the OTBA. We call it OTBA, Open Textbook Assessment. Again, it is in the picture, OTBA or OBA, whatever you call it. This is going to be another test upon the students about their competency. Open book assessment is not going to be very simple as students or we may expect. This is actually going to test the competency of the students. We can easily learn things by heart, but when you attend an open book assessment, it is going to be a very tough assessment indeed. So pilot phase will come, expected to come in the next academic year, and implementation target is board exams will shift to include 50 to 80% application based questions. We can expect 50 to 80% application based questions. So only 20% or 30% questions they can expect from the other area, average questions or simple questions and all. So this is going to be a very tough and tight academic year next year, unless and until teachers and institutions gear up for implementation with all empowerment of students and teachers. So assessment innovation details, Ms. Sokini will read out, please, Ms. Sokini.
Absolutely. Assessment innovation details. We'll start with core philosophy. This is going to be a shift from rote learning to competency demonstration and applied understanding in examinations. Then the open textbook or open book assessment, as sir was saying, is coming back. We'll have the pilot implementation. Class 9, selected subjects allow students to access reference materials during examination. So there will be the textbook or the book will be open, and the focus will be on how much they know and how much they can apply. Question design strategy. So there will be more of case studies, reasoning based problems. Wow. Multi step analytical questions enhance critical thinking skills. That will be the focus. Then coming to the grading part, that's the assessment part, coming to the rubric and the grading part. Competency levels defined, emerging development, proficient, advanced for standardized assessment. Talking about teachers' role transformation, facilitators, we're no longer calling them teachers, we're also calling them facilitators. They will guide students toward deeper understanding and practical skill application throughout their learning process in every lesson. And the expected outcome is to reduce anxiety, improved retention, better preparation for higher learning and future success. So that is, this is like looking at assessment from a completely different perspective.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
The expected outcomes is very clearly, stated. So all of us have to gear forth to achieve these outcomes. So the framework looks like this: open book assessment, application-based questions, case study integrations, competency mapping, continuous evaluation, outcome focus. So all the lessons actually NCERT produces and releases learning outcomes for teachers to plan their lessons. So their lessons should be planned based on the learning outcomes. That is the ultimate product of their learning. So this is already, I think this is already in practice, but more and more we can expect in terms of competency. Then talking about digital and global standards. So APAR ID, which the CBSE has mandated this year, but still every time they have to give relaxations to certain schools and regions and all because of complex problems and all, not syncing with the UDICE Plus or something of the kind. Next year, it is imperative that grade 11, 9 and 11 students should be linked to ABAR ID. So this is a unique ID, one nation, one student ID. That is the agenda. So that everybody has seen how it can be done. We have to go to UDICE portal and you have to generate ABAR ID, but for which UDICE portal should be synced properly with all the enrollments and all, whether TC or admissions, incoming and outgoing, everything should be clearly set in UDICE, and then only it should be, the schools will be able to generate a bar ID. This is going to be mandated for class 9 and 11 via Pariksha Sangam portal. Then another thing CBSE is speaking about is the global curriculum. Some years back, CBSE had introduced CBSE I think most of you might remember CBSE International. And after some years, they withdrew it, discontinued it, and now again in this year in the Dubai conference, again they announced CBSE global curriculum for global schools, especially foreign schools, in order to be on a par excellence with curriculum like IB and IGCSE. To compete with those curriculum, CBSE is introducing global curriculum for schools abroad in the next academic year. It is in pipeline. So that is about digital identity and portal systems. I request again Sohini to throw light on it.
Absolutely. Sure. Digital identity and portal systems. First is APAR ID Foundation, automated permanent academic account registry providing
Unified.
unified digital identity. Okay, so one nation, one student ID, unified digital identity for all learners throughout educational journey. Class 9 and 11 will receive APAR ID via Pariksha Sangam portal, ensuring systematic digital onboarding across institutions. Then we come to digital continuity tracking, academic journey tracked seamlessly from school through higher education, enabling comprehensive educational record management. Then data security standards, because a lot of student data will be going into this, standardized protocols ensuring student privacy and information protection, maintaining highest confidentiality standards so that no data is leaked. Portal features suite. We have exam registration, result access, skill documentation, performance analytics accessible through integrated platform dashboard. So I think this is going to be a great help during college admissions. Everything in one place.
Yes.
And finally, administrative integration benefits, streamlined process, reducing administrative burden on schools, improving operational efficiency and resource allocation. Also, I think this also ensures, even if the physical copies are damaged or lost or stolen, the students would always know that they are safe in one place from where nobody can steal them. So this is a great initiative indeed. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, everything is going to be digitalized. So as students are very well digital nowadays, schools, teachers also have to be very much digital, and the system as well. So global curriculum, we were talking about the global curriculum and international standards, how it is going to be rolled out. Launch timeline is begin global curriculum rollout in April 2026 expected, with a phased implementation across partners institutions as a pilot project. Benchmark alignment curriculum specifically designed to match international standards, including IB, Cambridge, and other recognized global educational frameworks, assessment compatibility, examination structured specifically for international university admissions, ensuring seamless transition to global higher education institutions. Dual recognition, students gain eligibility for both CBSE and international qualification pathways. It is going to be an added advantage for the students who opt for global curriculum, maximizing educational and career opportunities. That is the main focus. Expansion roadmap, how it is going to be gradual integration planned into broader CBSE schools. It will gradually will be integrated into different more and more schools where contextually appropriate, expanding international education accessibility systematically, very systematically. Then curriculum features, enhanced global perspectiveness and cross-cultural competencies integrated throughout curriculum for holistic international education development. So this is all set, and also we have to make sure that this is to globally make the students globally competent in the global job market. And also all the reforms that is set forth for implementation is aiming students to be very competitive, or what do you call, they should be able to crack all the competitive exams. All the assessment patterns will be modeled on the NEET or whatever assessment these competitive exams are happening. This is going to be a step towards all the competitive exams. So the baseline or the foundation should take place in the school scenario. That is the main motive. And here is the summary and implementation. The core shift you can see, learning for marks, no more. Learning how to learn. Now our focus is learning how to learn. It is not going to be no more going to be. So it is the teacher, the parents, the students to change their mindset to how much they have scored, rather than they should be talking about how much they are able to do, how competent they are in their learning area of their subject learning. So teacher capacity building is very important. That's why I said teacher mindset, parent mindset, education awareness should be given to parents and students alike. There is no more learning for marks. There is learning for how to learn. So compulsory teacher capacity building programs will be held and teachers should take part. We will also give lots of emphasis on competency-based education in the coming sessions, to new pedagogies and pedagogies, assessment styles, and digital tools. Already we have been equipping teachers. Still, I think we have more miles to go. And the strategic goal should be transforming the education ecosystem to focus on holistic development, critical thinking, and practical application of knowledge. So that is what we have seen, and we were talking about the teacher capacity building strategy, how CBSE is going to implement. I think in the next year, how it is going to phase out. Sokini ma'am, just read a few
Absolutely.
here and there.
Sure, sir. Now we are talking about the capacity building strategy because we are at the core of all the reforms that are upcoming or those that are knocking on our door. To begin with, training needs and framework development, identification of educator training needs across all states, curriculum redesign workshops for NEP 2020 alignment, development of competency-based pedagogical framework, assessment reformation, guidelines for modern education, technology integration roadmap for classroom delivery. Then we will talk about program refinement and continuous support. Program refinements based on classroom data and performance matrix, Continuous professional development frameworks, absolutely essential. Resource availability and accessibility optimization. Peer learning network expansion and strengthening. Ongoing support mechanisms for sustained educator development. Then we have mandatory capacity building implementation, rollout of mandatory training programs for all educators across India, NEP 2020 alignment and competency based teaching modules, technology integration and digital literacy training, assessment reformation and evaluation method workshops, because even assessment system is about to undergo a complete transformation, peer learning networks establishment for continuous knowledge sharing. That's a wonderful, wonderful initiative. And pilot monitoring and performance analysis for all teachers, real world classroom implementation, pilot programs monitoring, feedback collection from teachers and students to see the effectiveness measurement against learning outcomes, teacher student performance matrix analysis, and finally, the identification of implementation gaps and challenges. These will be included in the pilot monitoring and performance analysis.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes, yes, the
Lots of,
lot of things that we
yeah,
should
lot
look
of,
forward to.
correct. Lot of expectations on
Yes.
teachers. Implementation roadmap is laid out like this, and the success metrics. Key work plan. So there is the roadmap. We were talking about the strategy roadmap January to June. So it has already begun. The curriculum is out for grade 9. Of course, some teachers are asking whether textbooks are changing. Yes, grade 9 textbooks are changing. 11 also is expected, but we have to wait and see. Finalize teacher training programs, that is quarter 1 and quarter 2. Quarter 1 to quarter 2 implementation phases. First of all, finalizing teacher training programs. Then next is establish Aadhaar ID infrastructure and distribute curriculum resources. Quarter 2 2026 will see conduct of pilot assessments in selected schools, launch international curriculum in April, collects stakeholder feedback for refinement. Moving to implementation, next stage, quarter 3 and 4, prepare rollout, full rollout, disseminate final guidelines, test and stabilize technology platforms. Quarter 4 will see commencement of full implementation, active monitoring systems, initiate success metric tracking across institutions. Dear participants, let us be aware that CBSE is tracking each and every institution through its AI facilities, through what do you call SCOF and kind of assessments and all. So everything will be monitored and tracked so that schools will be ranked accordingly, the performance of the school, whether they are able to materialize the objectives of NEP 2020. The key work plan for the second half of the project is July to December, performance indicators and quality enhancement measurements. Moving to other major changes which has already taken place. This is with regard to affiliation. If heads are there or educators, teachers handling affiliation and all, this is for you. CBSE has already given the circular about the changes. The categorization of school areas has been rationalized. Here also rationalization has come. Earlier 4 categories were there. Now it has been reduced to 3 categories, A, B, and C. And it all depends upon the location of the school, municipal limits, whether it is metropolitan city or not, category of cities, XYZ, hilly areas and special regions. So affiliation will be granted based on the geographical setup of schools. The minimum land requirement for affiliation has been modified and standardized, replacing the earlier verified norms. Earlier it was like 12,000 square meters. Now they have reduced it to schools having land not less than 6,000 square meters may now be considered for affiliation subject to prescribed conditions. Details are there in the what do you call circular. We can go and have a look at it. If schools are getting ready for affiliation renewal or kind of new affiliation, the mandatory play area. This is a new addition. Play area is compulsory with at least 2,000 square meter available for play area. And one more thing, the last segment of this particular session, when schools setting up for or opting for upgradation or renewal of affiliation, this has become compulsory. What has become compulsory? School counselor certification by CBSE has become compulsory. We call it proctor certification. So when schools logging into SARAS portal, SARAS 7.0 window is active now. When they log into, they can see the portal is asking for proctor ID number. What is portal ID? Proctor ID number. Each school should have a proctor certified personnel, mostly, not mostly, compulsorily. It should be the counselor of the school. The counselor of the school should undertake an examination from CBSE and get certified, and this certification number should be compulsory for logging into or proceeding forth with the affiliation renewal or upgradation, any of the kind, right? Why it has become compulsory? CBSE has recently released a circular stating that school counselor service should be compulsorily met in schools. All schools, every school should have a counselor and a special educator at the most. Then only CBSE will grant affiliation to the new school or to the existing school's renewal. That is the reason proctor certification has become very compulsory, and the details are here. Sokini ma'am, over to you.
Yes, absolutely. Proctor certification, CBSE affiliation mandate, CBSE school affiliation re-engineered automation system, or as we know it popularly as SARAS. Current status, the SARAS 7.0 window is currently open as of February 2026 for schools applying for the 2027-28 academic session. The deadline is applications for fresh affiliation, upgradation, and extension generally must be submitted by July 31st, 2026. So that is an important deadline for all the schools who are planning to reapply or get fresh affiliation. Key requirements would include schools must update their OASIS data and complete a self-assessment on the SQAAF portal before applying. So these are the prerequisites that a school must look into and complete in all possible aspects before they apply for affiliation. Anything related to affiliation or renewing of affiliations.
Yes, Sokini. I think we have covered all the upcoming expectations or proposals from CBSE.
Okay,
One by one we have gone through. And now I think we can take up questions if any.
sure.
Thank you
Uh,
so much.
Yes, sir. I think I would like to start by saying that it has been a great session, and I would say it was a very time appropriate session that we all needed because, oh my God, there are so many different reforms and transformations that are coming our way, and I think every one of them would require a couple of sessions to elaborate upon. So you have wonderfully, given an overview, a detailed overview of all the reforms that are coming our way. And as educators, I can speak on behalf of everyone present here. I'm sure all of us have been tremendously benefited from this session. Now, before I ask the questions to you, sir, dear participants, dear audience, the certificate link has been shared in the chat. So kindly open the link, click on the link and open it for feedback and also for getting your participation certificates. Now, the first question that has been asked a couple of times is nine standard books, will they be implemented from this year? The new books, will they be implemented from this year?
2026, 27.
2026, 27, right. And again, that question has been asked by quite a few teachers, as I can see here. Then Miss Neetu is asking, sir, any changes in Hindi books for grade 9 and 10?
Yes, of course, if curriculum is, different, textbooks also will be different.
Will be different, right.
And
So,
to that, next, I think this coming Wednesday, we are going to have curriculum decoding of Hindi this Wednesday
oh,
for Hindi teachers.
wow. So I think that is a must attend session for Miss Nitu and anyone who's here who teaches Hindi
Hindi.
to students. And Miss Rekha is asking, NCRT books are available for class 3 for AI and computation skills. Are those books available already?
Books, about books, we need to wait for clarity. So keep looking at NCRT portal, NCRT website. It will be,
Okay.
PDF will be coming there. So as soon as it will be available, it is available, we will be posting in all the groups.
All right. So that question is answered. And then, of course, the chat box is inundated with a lot of appreciative messages where everyone is thanking you. As I said, everyone is just overwhelmed with gratitude because you have answered all the questions so patiently. And also, I think as we come to the close of today's session, your guidance on the CBSE strategic roadmap 26-27 has helped all of us, all the educators, gain a deeper understanding of the future direction of school education and the steps that any school can take to align themselves with these evolving expectations, because a lot, as I said already, is going to change.
Ms.
We also
Khyati would
extend,
like to
yes,
ask or speak.
Yes,
absolutely. I think Ms. Khyati,
good
yes, yes.
evening, Dr. Salam and Ms. Sohini and all the educators who joined us this evening. First of all, congratulations to you, Dr. Salam, for and Extra Mile Education and Training
Thank
for the
you.
350th session. I think it takes a lot of persistence and patience to have 350 and more still counting sessions. Hope to be a part of the 1000th session as well.
God
And
will.
yes, sir. And of course, as usual, I just wanted to congratulate you one more time for this brilliant session, for guiding all of us into what to expect in an upcoming academic year and to plan our academic year accordingly. So, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for joining. We are very much grateful to you, ma'am.
Absolutely. I think
Thank you.
My
Ms.
pleasure
Khyati,
always.
absolutely. I think Ms. Khyati spoke on behalf of all of us. And as I said, we are really overwhelmed with gratitude because we all needed this much needed session. But while we say that, we also extend, on behalf of Extra Mile Education and Training, I also extend our appreciation for all the participants who joined us today and contributed to making this session engaging and meaningful. Thank you for all those beautiful messages that you have sent. A quick question by Dr. Bindu. Any change in grade 11 physics textbook, if you would like to take it, sir?
I think we are expecting, as it was said earlier, the grade 11, 9 and 11 will change. So in the grade 9 has already changed. So grade 11 also will change. So we have to wait at the end of this, till the end of this month, we have to wait and see.
Yes, because we have to understand that, the process of changing and bringing new textbooks into effect is a humongous job that requires a lot of planning and research and other back-end things that have to be done. And Ms. Khyati has written, will CBSE share an official curriculum on the website?
Definitely, so CBSE, without CBSE's circular, we cannot proceed forth. CBSE will definitely issue circulars with regard to curriculum change and textbook change. Now CBSE, I mean, the curriculum for Hindi has come only single curriculum. We don't know whether it is A or B. Hindi, there are two Hindi subjects options. So all this clarity will be, brought out by CBSE through their circular. So we have to wait patiently for some time. Thank you once again.
Yes, and I would like to conclude by reading out what Miss Neetu has beautifully written. सर आप मार्गदर्शन हमें और अच्छे कार्य करने के लिए करते हैं. आप एक सच्चे मार्गदर्शक हैं. That
बहुत
is a
बहुत
beautiful
धन्यवाद.
way. That is a beautiful way to say it. Anybody who has any question, please raise your virtual hand or please put it in the chat. I'm more than very happy to read it out. Yes, Miss Nagalakshmi, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I have a small query. I hope you are able to listen to me.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Now, since the three language formula, because I'm a language teacher, I just want to know it. Okay. Is it all these days the state language, because we stay in Bangalore? Okay. The state language was mandatory from 6 to 9, rather, when they chose, when the school gave the option of selecting the languages, one of the language has to be a state language, either second language or third language, whatever. Now the third language, three language formula has been coming into force now. Is it continued, or can the child take the choice, like second language Sanskrit, third language Hindi, like that? Is there an option for the child to choose? That is what I just wanted.
CBSE,
And
I think to answer your question, NEP 2020 clearly says there is no compulsion or any individual on the choice of the language.
okay,
The only
okay.
thing is that two language should be native
Yeah,
and the other language can be foreign.
okay.
So
So,
that
and one more question, sir. We have in Sanskrit two, no, like communicative and language and literature. So, communicative came into vogue very recently, I think from 22 onwards, I think for 9th standard. So the change, is it only for language and literature textbook, or both? Is it going to be undergoing?
I think all the language you will get only one curriculum, only one textbook. That is what we are expecting.
Okay.
Let us see. So because in English it is only Kaveri. There is no
Okay.
literature or communicative it is mentioned. So we have to wait
Common, one
and see.
language with one code. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Only for 9th. The present 10th will continue with
Continue. No
communicative
change
and
for 10 and 12. No change for 10.
okay. So probably the next year it will be implemented for that.
Yes, in 10 next year.
Okay, thank you for
Next year means
patiently.
in 10 means now this year is supposed to be 26, 27 for grade 9.
Yeah,
27, 28.
27, 28.
Yeah, 27.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir, for addressing my issue very patiently. And thanks for this wonderful session.
Thank
Hope
you.
to join you for many more sessions further.
You are
Thank
welcome.
you.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Dhanyawad.
You're very welcome, ma'am. I think Dr. Bindu, sir, has already addressed this question that there will be, we are expecting changes to take place in the physics book as well, right? Any other question? Any other question? All right. Before we conclude, sir, with your permission, dear participants, kindly ensure that you complete the certificate and the feedback form link that we have provided in the chat box so that we can continue bringing more such valuable learning opportunities to all of us, to you and to all of us. And thank you, Salam, sir, once again for this wonderful session. And thank you to everyone for being a part of today's 350th session for Extra Mile Education and Training. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sakini ma'am. Thank you. Actually, I requested you to be a part of this with an objective in mind because we together should conduct the session. Actually, we together were conducting the session, not
I
me
can't tell you
alone.
how honored I am, sir. It is a complete privilege for me. And as I said, if I had not attended this session, I wouldn't know that that there is so much that we need to address and we need to look at. And again, another thing that I was just realizing as I was listening to you, how much important it is for all of us to undergo these training sessions so that we can keep ourselves updated with all the recent changes and updates that the board is bringing to us. Only when we are aware and we are cognizant, we can give the best service to our children. So it's an absolute honor and privilege, sir,
Thank
as
you. Well,
always.
thank you. Thank you so much, Sokini. And all the educators, all who have participated, keep connected, learn more with extramurral education and training. We are coming up with curriculum-oriented sessions and all for your support and help. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.
Signing
Thank
off.
you, sir. Thank you. Have a nice weekend, everyone. Bye bye.